Shalom. Giving all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rach HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. And as always, we give peace and salutations to the elect. We're going to go into a few articles, news, prophecy, prophecy watch, prophecy update. You know how we get down through the Holy Spirit, feeding you with the needed information according to the times that we're in. As the scriptures let us know in Isaiah, the 33rd chapter and the 6th verse, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. And we are not ignorant of Satan's devices, as he has many. And for you Israelites who fell out and turned your back, on Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, all right, good luck to you. For you Israelites who have used your platforms, all right, to promote yourselves and not the Son of the Most High, all right, as our only way out of here, all right, use this ministry to get rich, become a celebrity, and have mocked the prophets when we were telling you of these very times that we're living in, all right, good luck to you, all right, because there's a great judgment. The best thing for any of you Israelites to do is to repent, all right, and ultimately get right with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, okay, because the doors of mercy are still open. However, we know that they're closing, all right, swiftly, just like the doors closed at the time of Noah. He had went and prophesied 120 plus years, I believe, or 120 years, and pretty much that was the grace period where people had their chance to turn from their evil deeds. And he was warning of a time to come that the world had never seen, rain and a flood. The world had never seen that at that point. And here it is. We're in the same lot. We've been warning you, starting with our apostles, bishops, and elders. Apostle Tahar, I believe, is coming up on 40 years. The apostle Racha, I believe 35 years. All right, or close to 30 years. Okay, and the rest of the apostles, coming up on 30 years, 20 plus years, going hard, haven't not sold out, haven't stuck to the mission, as we were commanded to witness, to prophesy, to warn, to reprove, exhort, with all long suffering and doctrine. All right. In spite of what we have going on, physically, mentally, spiritually, we still have to stick to the path. All right. And it's likened unto witnessing Yahweh Shai resurrect. You have to imagine the reason that our forefathers, the disciples and our foremothers as well, when you go back to the ancient Western Roman Empire, the followers of Yahweh Shai, they were with him. They saw him. They saw particular miracles. Some of them saw him after his resurrection. So whatever persecution they faced, in their mind, they were set, they were sold. So they took the torture, the persecution, and the various different things that they had to take of that day, and they didn't look back. All right. And we have a like mind in the Holy Spirit to enter into those labors, that faith. As here it is, we can clearly see the times are short. We can clearly see that things are getting absolutely, all right, nasty, spooky, as the beloved Elder Raquia Kwam from London says. All right. So if you've been watching, all right, we've been prophesying of these things. If you haven't, go back and look at the other news and prophecies, the prophecy updates. But make sure you root yourself in Yahweh Shai. All right, no matter how many prophecies you're aware of, and how much the MOTB is the microchip. If you're not rooted in Yahweh Shai, and your faith in the resurrection is shaky, okay, and you doubt, ultimately, you're going to be damned. So root yourself in Yahweh Shai. Now, here it is, clearly, when you look at the Biden administration and them allowing, all of these people over. Clearly, when you look at it and you see the response to it under Trump, they knew what they were doing. Okay. And it's leading us into times and situations centered around things like this, as you can see on the screen. These two individuals, okay, associated with a plot to bomb, okay, the Red House. Okay. But as you can see here, men caught planning, all right, a Skibidi massacre, all right, when one of their girlfriends alerted the FBI. Okay. And could it be real? Could it be a false flag? We know how Esau operates. There's a big time psychological operation that's been going on the United States people for ages. But from 2020 until now, they've really tapped into that, left-handed bag. And when we say left hand, we're speaking of through Satan. Because you're left-handed or you right with your left hand doesn't make you wicked. But the Most High's right hand represents Yahweh Shai. All right. And the Heavenly Father controls both. All right. The righteous and wickedness. And ultimately, the fruits of wickedness had to play themselves out in the earth. And we're partaking of it as a lesson, and our rites of passage to get into the kingdom and actually rule. The Lord showed us a world ruled by complete and utter wickedness, ruled by the children of Satan, so that we can know and understand and appreciate righteousness. As a matter of fact, a scripture I always get, you already know where I'm going. The book of Psalms 119. It's around 71. I'll get it in the NLT. Because you look at all of this, you look at this straight and narrow path that we have to go through. Well, look at what Yahweh Shai had to go through. You don't think the Lord is going to put us through a test and a lesson as well? Because through this, we have to learn obedience. We can't turn back. We have to continue down the right path, down the straight gate. So it says, my suffering was good for me, for it taught me to pay attention to your decrees. So looking at this current world should make us pay attention to the decrees and the order of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and how ultimately us leaving off from that was a big mistake, and how following it and keeping it would have been the better, the better solution. We chose our flesh in times past. Well, now we're understanding the importance of putting off the flesh. All right. And the mistake of Adam, choosing to eat the fruit, that was presented to him by his wife. Now, as you can see here, getting into the prophecy. All right. You can clearly see where this is going. There's no need for us to even really tap into this story, because this is setting the groundworks for them to bring in more surveillance. And that big, beautiful bill that Donald Trump just passed, and they passed it, it was 51-50. And what is the meaning of 51-50? All right. As a matter of fact, let's just type it in. What is the meaning of 51-50? 5150 is a legal code that allows for the temporary and voluntary psychiatric hospitalization of an individual who is deemed a danger to themselves or others. All right. So somebody that's crazy, mental illness, unstable, out of control. Man, these are the times we're in. And this devil is pretty much getting ready to go 5150. Now, let me play this. I loaded this the other day, but I want to play this, and I'm going to get back to that and some thoughts on it and a few other articles and scriptures, because we're here, man. All right, through the Spirit. Just keep pushing, brothers.
I like to say, a little controversial, but I couldn't care less. We have a lot of bad criminals that came into this country, and they came in stupidly. It was an unforced error. It was an incompetent president that allowed it to happen. It was And what?
And that was done by purpose. They knew exactly what they were doing, allowing all of those people over here. It's justifying the crackdown. And then a lot of you people are being duped. And a lot of Trumpsters are waking up. A lot of Trumpsters are now like, wait a minute, this ain't going, this, you doing too much. All right. Because again, the American people are still in that big, beautiful bill he just passed. Okay. That, and it got to go through a few other, signatures before you see it. But it pretty much, it gives tax breaks to the rich, aids Israel more, brings about more, AI infrastructure, money put into those things, and it takes away, it puts more hell on the working class. Okay? It puts more hell on the working class. And these are and things are going to, snap, and people are going to lose it as they really see where this Trump thing is taking them. Okay? But as you can see, the big, beautiful bill passed 5150. You don't think the Lord is letting you know something through that number? You're looking at a mentally unstable. Esau is crazy. See, he's played with you people long enough. He's tired of hiding who he really is and having to feel this whole white guilt. They're done with that. See? And again, the average everyday Edomite who, at one point benefited from, so-called white supremacy, now they're losing. And they thought that Trump was going to, get them, the comfort for their inheritance, America, and for their families. But now you can clearly see it's even working against them in the grand scheme of things. Esau's losing out here. And they thought, they stood behind this Trump character, and the whole talking point of making the Edomite great again. It sounded good. Okay. And even this to some of them sounds good. Yeah. Get those migrants out of here. Right. Which the migrants being taken out of here is actually working against you. Right. In a sense, you have things like this. All right. Texas farms are hit hard. All right. As ICE. Hold up. Texas farmers hit hard as migrant workers avoid ICE. Look at this nigga. So migrants ain't showing up to do their job. It's America. Yo, we got to get out of here, man. We got to get out of here. But again, farm workers are hit hard as workers avoid ICE. So it's more, hell put on, the people who run these farms who were using these migrants. They don't have to give them any, medical. They can overwork them, give them, a little bit of nothing, a little, probably give them a place to sleep, and pretty much just winning, because farmers have been catching hell. So they're taking any, shortcut they can, for the business of farming. And now they're being hit. Okay. It says farmer Nick Billman, all right, told the news that the raids are keeping employees from coming to work, leaving farmers without any help. He said things started getting worse just in the last 3 weeks. Okay. It says, I would say within the last 3 weeks, it started to slow, but this last week, it has been huge. Okay. That is when it has been zero. That is when it has been zero people wanting to come out and be exposed, to be able to be picked up, whether they're legal or illegal. People were just scared, period. So they're like, you know what? I don't even want to work around them because they go come round all of us up. So, these farmers have benefited from having these illegal, aliens working for them. And the trade-off is I won't tell on you and I'll give you a little housing. You just work for me. You boom. Even certain restaurants and businesses, period. So it's affecting. All right. And this is what Esau wants. He wants these farms to eventually shut down. They've been putting hell on farmers, man. The working class and the people that are essential to Babylon the Great, America flourishing, have been getting shitted on. And a lot of them thought Trump, they fixed the prices of the groceries. They were mad about the groceries under, Biden. Trump said he was going to lower it. Have they lowered? What has the average American received? All right. Here in America. Now, the talking point is once we get all of these migrants and all of these programs where people are sucking the money out of the economy, and then eventually we can fix things. Give us a minute. But where's all of the money going? You're seeing all of these AI corporations, merge with the military and, take seats in position of passing laws. You see the Constitution as being a thing of naught. Now they're talking about carting off U.S. citizens. Naturalized citizens. It's going to go to actual U.S. citizens. And Jake keep leaving messages. They can't do that. As you can see, they ain't worried about the Constitution. That's getting ready to be done away with. And an elite group of technocrats, as we've been warning you, okay, who ultimately the small hats are going to be the ones passing. Everything's working in their interest, even this big, beautiful bill. But again, this is prophecy, what we're looking at. Real quick, let's get the book of Jeremiah 50. Let's get Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. And around, hold up. Let's see. There we go. Jeremiah 50 and 16, and we're going to get this in the NLT. It says, take from Babylon all those who plant crops. All right. And this is going to lead to the famine they want. Okay. The book of Joel, the first chapter, goes into that. How we're seeing the food wither. We're seeing the stalls empty because Edom wants all things natural to be transcended. He wants to go past, because cows and cattle and farming is now the enemy of the earth under their new gospel. Nature is the problem. Okay, so they're going to re-engineer how food gets to the fork. And from farm to fork, it will be tracked and it will be fake, all right, geo-engineered food for the purpose of saving the earth. This is what he's doing. So take from Babylon all those who plant crops. Send all the harvesters away because of the sword of the enemy. Edom is getting ready to come down with the sword. Everyone will run away and rush back to their own lands. And see, this is ain't we witnessing this? Self-deportation is a thing because of the sword of the enemy. Okay? Self-deportation. Okay? People are self-deporting. Some people are like, wait a minute, this is going a little bit too far. We out of here. So, where was I at? Let's go back here. I thought I had it up. Yeah, Texas farmers are being hit hard. See if there's any videos on it.
So if you haven't heard, there are farms in Texas that have been trying to pursue their operations, but they're not able to because their workforce has disappeared. And this is why.
It's Joe from Georgia. So this is news out of Texas. But folks, these are alarm bells ringing for the entire United States. And our government is not listening.
It said farmer voted for this. People just wanted a break from the brutal squeeze that Biden brought. The Biden administration. Not only was it just extremely gay and nasty and freaky and proud and disrespectful, women running up and down the street like they just caught a goddamn slant and ran into the end zone. They running through the streets, boasting in the fact that they can abort their, their fetus. It's like, come on, man. It just got nasty under the Biden administration. Groceries got high, gas got high. Ukraine was getting all of the money. Now Trump comes in and he says, well, let's do away with this gay stuff. Let's make America Christian again. And people get behind him like, wait a minute, I can do this. See, this man, they're very deceptive. That made sense even to us. What did he say wrong? Yeah, that is too much. That's freaking common sense that a trans shouldn't read to a fourth grader. They shouldn't read to nobody. Okay? They need to be declared 5150. Anyway, now, all right, you're seeing that ultimately in that crafty way, it ain't gonna be good for America. It ain't getting America ain't being made great. The tech billionaires and trillionaires are becoming great. Okay, and they've convinced the person who make. So you got the person who make. You got these people who make $1,000 an hour, $700 an hour. They've convinced you that the problem is not them, and that's small money. What I'm talking about with that. But these governors, these people in positions, these judges, they've convinced the so-called middle class, the one making, maybe 30, a decent job here, you're making 30, which ain't no money no more, an hour or 50, 75, 100. They've convinced you, the people who make $1,000 an hour have convinced the people who make $30 an hour that the problem is the people who make $7 an hour and need aid. But the trillionaires and the bankers, we can't look into that. The poor is the problem. And ultimately, they're using their scientific racism to justify getting a particular kind of people out and treating them in any way because they're beast. According to the science, they're beast. You see, and this is what Darwin did. This is what all of the UK, the British colonialism was all backed by their scientific racism. It was all backed by pseudoscience. If you didn't know that this was what justified, we can label these people this, slaughter them because ultimately, according to our science, they deserve it. They're subhuman. So they're getting ready to wage war on the people. You have these two individuals here who are now in custody after they were accused of making terroristic threats and planning a mass, all right, rat-tat-tat-tat ting. You see? So Isaiah Oglesby and Thomas Oglesby were arrested following an investigation into their social media activity. So again, social media activity is getting ready to be policed on a different level. But they've allowed you to, get into the spirit of saying what you want because all they've doing is, tracking your data, and putting you in a position where they can label you, where they can accuse you, where they can, know what to do with you according to their science, and AI is being used to do it. Okay. Everything you put into, even what we put on to ChatGPT is being recorded. What they just want to see what are people looking up, what are people into, and they get the data and they're able to use that data to profile you and justify passing laws centered around offing you. This is what's coming down the pipe, and things like this are going to be used. This is going to be used. All right. Because you got to understand the people with Trump, right?
Open maybe that allowed it to happen. And it did happen. But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next chapter.
Yeah, people just walking up and hitting people with baseball bats. What? So that's what's happening out here every day. I mean, not to say people don't do wickedness, but again, the true terrorists, the true problem are these people and the people he represents. And look at the hat he got on. See, he's moving and operating in a very, very satanic, proud, but it's beautiful for prophecy. We like it. We you know, it's better than having Kamala in there. I would rather see the Edomite go out in this spirit. Okay? But he's moving in that eagle, like all of this stuff that you see behind him. This is Rome. This all goes back to Rome, the olive branch. All of this stuff goes back to Rome. Everything you see here, all of this goes back to Rome. We are in Rome again. And when you look at the people that Trump is surrounding themselves with, okay, like this guy.
Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison predicts AI surveillance will be part of our everyday lives in the future. During a recent Oracle Q&A, Ellison said AI will soon play a major role in monitoring society through a vast network of interconnected cameras, including security systems, police body cams, and vehicle dash cams.
Everyone would see it. Your body cams will be transmitting that. The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on.
This is the red man right here. This is him, the man of sin, right before your very eyes.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
Ellison's vision is for AI to analyze data from this network of cameras in real time in an attempt to prevent crime while also tracking and influencing public behavior for a safer society. However, the idea raises serious pressure.
So what you're witnessing is fascism, which that goes back to Rome too. You're witnessing a dictatorship, a small group of people dictating what's getting ready to happen. And this guy didn't just pop up with Donald Trump for no purpose. You see, these are the people who are ultimately being put in positions of power.
Privacy concerns. Critics argue it could lead to a surveillance state with constant monitoring infringing on personal privacy rights.
And that's what it's coming with. That's what it's coming to. They just told you it's Iranian sleeper cells. They just keep throwing all of these various different, things to manipulate the mind. And they're getting ready to come with an order centered around, carting people off and often because they got to do away with the mass majority of the people, man. Okay, so now you have these two individuals talking about bombing. So now they can say we're at threat here in our country. Okay, people who are against us. Then all they have to do is start creeping in the Hebrew and watch the IUIC during this time. These particular camps who are juiced in are getting ready to start being used, which they have been. The marching. The going out with guns, the, showing yourself training, which you could train. Okay. Legally here and according to American Constitution, if it's legal, you could have a sword. But at the end of the day, those were never anything that we could have did with our ministry. You're not wicked for having a weapon. It just shouldn't be linked with the ministry. And why would you want your enemy to know everything you got? So there's nothing wrong with training. But you got these jakes out here doing, trying to present this militant, because they're getting ready to merge, domestic terror, Islam, Hebrew Israelite all together and make a judgment. And what is it you think it's going to be? What did they do to your ass in Rome? They kicked you out of Rome. Don't forget the Rome's, deportation methods. They did it on many occasions. Even when you believed in a different ideology than what they were trying to put down, you could be deported. FBI warns of lone wolf attacks during the 4th of July. So now here we go. And this stuff is going to gradually keep happening. Okay. And then there's going to be violence in the land. See, these things all started as rumors. Even the talking point of building a prison, that alligator Alcatraz, that's a concentration camp. Those are things that the apostles warned of when we came in. Now we see it, but we were being called conspiracy theorists. We were being called crazy, weirdos, bug outs, right? Now look, through the Spirit, if we're witnessing the same thing the ancient prophets witnessed, they will warn their people, and there will be a certain amount of time where the Lord would have them warning, and then what they warned about will happen. So now you have a warning of, threats can be happening during, 4th of July celebrations, and, be on the lookout, be mindful of your surroundings, don't just be out late for no goddamn reason. We're living in different times. Scriptures talks about, get up early to do what the hell you got to do, and then get your ass back home without delay, because the times are, and cook your own food, learn how to make your own medicines, because Esau Edom is getting ready to pretty much shut things down, and is going to justify tracking people through events that he himself is going to bring on earth. The scriptures say that he will come down with great wrath. Now, these tech firms are now, right, suggesting placing trackers under offenders' skin at meeting with Justice Secretary. And they're already doing this. Okay. They've been locking people up in cages. People forget that Biden had, particular migrants locked in cages like animals. What do you think they're doing with these people? They're chipping them. Okay. Certain prisoners chipped, right? Tracking, because these are criminals. They need to be tracked. And the people are going to agree with it. But then you're going to have to be tracked so that you can be identified on the grid. This is the next phase of what Esau Edom, in the final phase before, all hell breaks loose in World War III, pursuing John's vision in Revelation, the 13th chapter. The revival of Rome, right? Which when you read Revelation 13, Revelation, the 13th chapter. Let's get it here. Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. So what beast are we talking about? And you have to understand that this is to be linked with Daniel's vision in Daniel, the 7th chapter, showing you the kingdoms that would be in rulership before the kingdom was set up. And Rome would be that fourth beast. Okay. So the image of the Western Roman Empire, all right, which is the beast, the red dragon, all right, would ultimately revive itself. So this system had power to give life unto the image of the beast. And what you're witnessing is ancient Rome being reborn. And now they have technology. Now the sword has been perfected. Now they have the fatness of the earth instead of the different regions that they conquered, and pretty much the Edomites are fulfilling their promise, their blessing that was given unto them by Isaac, the fatness of the earth, the sword, the control of the resources, his kingdom. And now he's trying to solidify it and make it eternal because he can feel it slipping away. So he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image be killed. And you got people saying that this is Christianity. Well, we don't see Christianity being used in these latter days by the beast system as a means of what you're going to have to follow. They're done with white Jesus. That poison, which is spiritual crack rock, Christianity, spiritual crack rock. Okay, they're done with that. They're moving forward, okay, to impute their power unto their God. Okay, Habakkuk 1 and 11. Then shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend. And this is where he's offending now with the talking point of, merging man with machine and making himself the most high and having control over the spirits and using AI to outdo what the most high has planned for eternity for his people. He wants to set it up for himself. Okay. They're no longer, worried about the interest of the common people. That system is old. It didn't work. It drained us. But somehow the small hat ain't draining you. The 1948ers, right? Somehow the state with the Zionist state of Israel, they're not draining. That's not something that needs to stop going out. Well, we're going to cut these Medicaid programs. We're going to cut, aid for, research that goes into understanding sickle cell and providing people who have sickle cell, because that sickle cell thing was given unto Jake. That's something Esau did, the messing with Jake's genes. And, there's a certain amount of Jake, mainly Jake, who suffer from that thing. And it was certain programs used, to fund it, to fund research and to help people with it. And Trump is cutting that shit. Right? Meanwhile, there's somebody walking around with $1 trillion. Okay. But we have to cut funding to these undesirables. That's why they put DEI at the forefront. All of these marginalized people who are, feel as though they're oppressed and left out of society. And they mixed you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in there with the alphabet community and these feminists and these crazy liberal women who would just have lost their goddamn mind. Anyway, Esau Edom, his mind is changing. He's the modern day Chaldean. We got videos going into that. Okay, the witches and warlocks that, ruled the Neo-Babylonian Empire, they're imputing their power to their God. Esau, pursuing Isaiah 47, is the daughter of the Chaldeans. Okay. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and 10. Let us oppress the poor and righteous man. Let us spare the widow. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs. So he's the oppressed people, the marginalized people. He's be able to link you in with this liberal woke agenda, and now everybody's tired of your ass. And it stinks. It is a nasty work. It is a horrible culture. It is a horrible position, these civil rights leaders. But Jake is ultimately oppressed, put in a situation where they can't thrive. Only the Holy Spirit can get you out of it. But they don't want to spare the widow. You have aid and Medicaid to elderly people who, families can't afford to keep taking care of them, and now they're put on these waiting lists. He's cutting, Medicaid. So the aged, okay, as a matter of fact, what I want to do, I'm going to get that video done by the Elder Muwatazak, but let's go back here, because isn't this leading to prophecy? Okay, they're trying to figure out a way to get in control of the people, man. He wants to heap into himself all people. So tech firms, all of these technocrats you see popping up in positions of power, are suggesting placing trackers under offender skin. All right, at meeting with Justice Secretary. Tracking devices inserted under offender skin. All right, robots assigned to contain prisoners, and driverless vehicles used to transport them were among measures proposed by technology companies to minister those who are gathering ideas to tackle the crisis of the UK justice system. So they're getting ready to bring the sword down. And within that, which this ain't just, okay, it's in UK, all of them are doing this. This is where it's going. And as we talk about the image of the beast living through this system. That's why you have a Colosseum. The image of the beast being reborn, you go into deportation. That happened in ancient Rome. Also, they tattooed prisoners. Okay, they tattooed prisoners in Rome. We're going to show you that. At the meeting last month, which was hosted by the industry lobby group Tech UK. Okay, I wonder who's funding that. Ministers asked the tech companies what a digital data and technology enabled justice system could look like. Responses including real-time behavior monitoring, substantious tracking to support health, behavior management of people under the control of the criminal justice system, artificial intelligence advisors. Okay, we told you AI is going to be at the forefront of this new scientific racism. Okay, we told you. We literally, if you've been watching, there's a video that goes into scientific racism. If you go to my page or GMS Fear the Most High 7 page, we went into when Trump and Elon and them came, first got in, and we was like, okay, they getting ready to tap back. Because the elder Required Quam came up with the idea, and I seen it, and I was like, that makes sense. And it was interesting that he said that. So I looked into it, and I was like, oh, okay. So they're getting ready to use pseudoscience again, social Darwinism, all of them things that they believed in and were proud of, right? Remember the Age of Enlightenment where all of these Edomite scientists and, thinkers came together and they just got high, molested a bunch of children and, wrote down, theories and, this became life. And all it is that ancient Roman rhetoric, ancient Greco-Roman rhetoric, it doesn't amount to anything. But the Lord is dealing, the evil had to play their part. Okay. It says artificial intelligence advisors to support offenders, rehabilitation, and robotics used to manage prisoner movement and containment, including self-driven vehicles and to transport prisoners. This is the world that they're talking about putting in place. This is the system. And you got people who are down with this. Okay, but it's all a spirit, man. All right. And they're down with it under the guise of peace and safety. As if the people who are in rulership ain't the reason shit is crazy like this any damn way. So human rights complainers called the ideas alarmingly dystopian and warned that the meeting suggested the government may be getting too close to the tech giants. Well, of course it is. The tech giants are now the government. Okay, they just put this Trump character in front of you to, to give you something to believe in. But they're coming with their agenda. So they got another meeting coming. Look, mark of the beast. Oh, man. Just wait till Trump hears about this. Hell, RFK wants Americans to wear Fitbit, all right, wearables, like health monitoring devices. Yep. He's with Trump. But hey, what's one more step? Just force us to have it under the skin. That's where it's going. See that? And in Rome, they did this in the sense of tattooing prisoners. I asked ChatGPT, did ancient Rome tattoo prisoners and people in military? Why and how would they do that today? Yes, ancient Rome did tattoo both prisoners and members of the military, but the reasons and symbolisms were different. Tattooing prisoners of slaves to mark ownership, punishment, to preserve escape or rebellion. Some slaves or criminals were tattooed on the forehead with labels like FUG, fugitive, or SPQR, property of Rome. So when you go to Revelation 13, after he forces you to bow to his image, He's going to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. Now, this word mark, right? Charagma, right? A stamp, all right, of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as a badge of the followers of the anti-Messiah. This system actually goes back, okay, to the ancient Greco-Roman Empire, but really it goes back even to Egypt. Many nations, all right, marked or, tattooed their or branded their servants or subjects, or for you to say you make an oath and believe in this God and bow before me, you have to seal it and make the oath by the mark or the tattoo. Okay. So when it says it was put on a forehead or in a hand, that's another example. All right. The mark of consecration. Then it goes into a mark branded up on horses. What are brands put on horses for? To identify. All right. To mark ownership. Okay. A thing, carved, sculpture, graven work. So it's something physical that John the Revelator saw. And when you look up the root word, karax goes to sharpen to a point. The idea of scratching. So this is physical. Okay, something stuck into something. This is what John the Revelator saw. And then he described the system surrounding chi-psi stigma. Okay, which stigma is a mark pricked or branded upon the body. To ancient Oriental usage, slaves and soldiers bore the name or stamp of their master or commander, branded or pricked, cut into their bodies to indicate what master or general they belonged to. And there were some devotees who stamped themselves in this way with the token to their gods. And did you see the other week when that Edomite came out, asked him would he take it? He said yes. So there are people who are ready to take it. There are people already taking it. We showed you these billionaires on this island chipping each other, and this is the next wave. But they're going to do it as well. All right. It's going to start off. They're using it for health. Now they're using it. OK, well, things are getting so bad. We got to identify these criminals, offenders. OK, but pretty much everybody's going to be an offender if you don't accept the NWO. So we're going to need to know who's with us and who's not by setting up the new digital Tower of Babel. All right. And you're going to have to come up under our rule. OK, this is basically Nimrod all over again. Genesis, the Tower of Babel all over again. But they now have the technology. All right. That ancient tyrants didn't have. They now have the ability to actually do it. So the talking point of a C-hip going in your ass, it's on the table. Okay, this is where it's going, man. So in ancient Rome, they did that. Okay. Tattooing soldiers. Why? To signify loyalty and affiliation, to discourage desertion. You were permanently marked as a soldier. Okay. Christian soldiers tattoo the religious symbols like the cross. Yeah, we see that today. The historian Vegetius wrote that Roman soldiers were branded or tattooed stigma or stigmata. Chi-psi stigma is what John the Revelator gave as a code surrounding this system, the 666, on their hand during the enlistment, likely with the name or number of the legion. So he wants to put his name on you. If that was done today, if Rome had the tools today, which they do, what would be the RFID and this is not medical information, biometric tags instead of ink. That's the phase one, the first one. Facial recognition, QR codes, okay? Microchip or nanotech. So here we go. This is how, if Rome had this technology today to do the same thing they did back then with tattooing, how would they do it today? Well, he just showed you. ChatGPT just broke it down to you. That is through the form of RFID chip. And this is what John the Revelator saw. And see, people are kind of starting to wake up to what's going on. So I'm going to play some of this video. Mawata Zakban Gad. 2, subscribe and be edified. Elder, the LA camp, beautiful videos. Always watch and subscribe.
Great history, but history right now is happening right here in front of us. And so let's.
And the video is called Scrolling Through Edom TikTok. Will the big, beautiful bill, which when you look at the big, beautiful bill, he's going to go into some of what's in it. I'm still trying to figure it out. But as one of the elders told me, it benefits those small hats a whole hell of a lot. More aid to them. But it's called Will the Big Beautiful Bill, which if you look at 3 lowercase b's, what could that symbolize? The 666. Okay, I guarantee you somebody has done it. Could be wrong, but watch this. Hold up. Big. Oh, I actually saw a picture where somebody did it, so it's validated, but let's see if somebody did it. Hold up. Yeah, it's probably not going to be here, but somebody sent it in the chat. Trump's. Somebody showed it how the lowercase b's are, the 666, but ain't no pictures over here, but somebody did send it into the chat. I mean, and it's all kind of signs and enchantments going on, through the spirit that we got to tap into. And again, as the scriptures say, Ecclesiastes 1:9, the thing that have been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. So the point of marking yourself is not new, but in this time, how is it going to be done? Okay, and now we're looking at the necessary infrastructure and laws being passed for them to go ahead and force this system.
Cover it. The reckoning has begun. If you think this won't affect you, congratulations, you're exactly who it's coming for. Trump voters may keep looking away, but the damage is already here. That so-called big, beautiful budget, it's not a budget. It's Project 2025 in disguise, a full authoritarian blueprint dressed up as fiscal policy, and it's about to hit you where it hurts. Let's break it down.
Now, what is Project 2025? Dismantle the administrative state, consolidate power in the presidency, replacing tens of thousands of civil servants with loyal political appointees. Who's behind it? 70 right-wing groups. And basically it's all been bought out by the elites. This is their plan. Okay, to put who they want in position to pass laws centered around the system they want set up. That's really what it all is. And the whole climate agenda thing, which.
When disaster strikes, no one's coming. Sections 80307 to 80309/climate resilience and FEMA funding. Floods, wildfire, hurricanes, no federal help. Your town will burn, drown, or blow away, and all you'll hear is silence. When your health.
It's kind of happening in LA, right? those fires, they ain't coming up with no plan to really help them and aid the people to get back on their feet. What happened with that?
Care vanishes. That's in the bill too. Sections 44141, 441
144 call hello Yabashim Yashai.
22, and 44131 add work requirements.
And this is TikTok. People just play information and then they're sitting there just looking right there in the screen. You could have put a picture of Trump. Nobody wants to see your ass, man.
Medicaid. If you miss a form, you lose coverage. If you're in a blue state, your funding gets cut. And veterans, they'll face longer waits, fewer doctors, and less mental health support. While
They don't give a damn about the veterans. And the Lord hates that. Even if it's an Edomite or a Elamite or whatever nation, if they fought in your military, they should be taken care of. But they're the worse off because they were subject to all kind of mind manipulation and control tactics, drugs, shots, chips. A lot of them had to put chips in themselves. So this is Rome all over again. And this whole big, beautiful thing, let's listen to it again. I'm going to let it play.
Reckoning has begun. If you think this won't affect you, congratulations. You're exactly who it's coming for. Trump voters may keep looking away, but the damage is already here. That so-called big, beautiful budget, it's not a budget. It's Project 2025 in disguise. A full authoritarian blueprint dressed up as fiscal policy, and it's about to hit you where it hurts. Let's break it down. When disaster strikes, no one's coming. Sections 80307 to 80309 / climate resilience and FEMA funding. Floods, wildfire, hurricanes, no federal help. Your town will burn, drown, or blow away, and all you'll hear is silence when your healthcare vanishes. That's in the bill too. Sections 44141, 44122, and 44131 add work requirements for Medicaid. If you miss a form, you lose coverage. If you're in a blue state, your funding gets cut. And veterans, they'll face longer waits, fewer doctors, and less mental health support. While
elderly as well, waits and less aid, just to stall them out, kill them off. All right.
Trump brags about how much he spent at his golf course. Gender affirming care, banned. Even for those who serve this country, if you're undocumented or simply poor, section 44110, make sure you won't get care either. Your hospital.
And ultimately, we hey, see, that's what's something that they're going to put at the forefront. See, no more money going towards, trans research, because the Biden administration were putting money everywhere in all type of freaky activity, having animals being subjected to trans testing. They will put money in everything. So, people, we agree. That's horrible. Money going towards, transitioning people who are in the men who are in the military. No. Things like that make sense. So people get behind it. But you have to understand it's far more.
Hospital may shut down, and when you need a doctor, you'll find that the service no longer exists. And your grocery bill, that's going up too. Trump's tariffs combined with the cuts to food assistance in sections 10008 and 10012 mean higher prices for produce, gas, and everyday goods. And yes, the neighborhood could lose their SNAP benefits at age 64. What about the institutions holding your town together? Section 50002 and 50003, gut funding and oversight. Say goodbye to your pharmacy, post office, or bank, and don't expect anyone to fix it. Then there's your job. Sections 90004 through 90006 allow a massive civil service purge. You could be fired and replaced with an unqualified loyalist, and your pension slashed.
Yeah, you work at these jobs, they're tracking everything you're doing because they're getting ready to make a decision on who to keep and who to get, who ultimately AI can, take over their job. And those who they, deem, unneeded, you're going to be terminated. And that's just what it is. This is the administration that the cruel Lord. Let's get it. May as well, right? His mind has changed. Wisdom of Solomon 2:11. This is the mindset of the wicked. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble, all right, be found worth nothing. The faith is feeble, is looked at as weak in this world. So they're putting their strength not in the Lord, the scriptures, all of these things they boasted in. They're going into their own law and moral code. And this is going to cause uprisings, right? This is going to cause people to lose their damn mind. Isaiah 19:3. And the spirit of Egypt shall, as a matter of fact, Isaiah 19:19, and I will set Egyptian against Egyptian. This is coming. Trump talking about deporting Elon Musk. MAGA is now divided. These American people are going at American people. Edomite governors going, against other governors and, senators, arguing with the president. This place is completely out of order. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city and kingdom against kingdom. See? And we're getting ready to see that. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, AI, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to wizards. They're tapping back into their magic to get them the victory. Okay? Now they're able to tap into it on a whole nother level with, CERN and these various different, witch covens and things that they, the technocrat. Imagine what they're into. Imagine what's going on in their houses. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord. A fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord. And the water shall fail, which goes into what? Things not flourishing. Okay? The things not being transported. Okay? Certain, systems being shut down, farming being shut down. Okay? Verse 9, moreover, they that work in the flax and they that weave the network shall be confounded. The worker. All right, you're gonna be left out. Because AI is here now. And they shall be broken, and they shall be broken in the purposes thereof, all that make sluices and ponds for fish. The whole way that the earth ran was off of relying on nature and man going out and, doing things for work, having a particular trade, or, Esau's doing away with that. He's bringing about a whole new world. Okay. This is where we at. Let's go back here. This is what that cruel tyrant is doing.
Education, not spared. Section 30061 bans DEI programs. Your daughter's school will stop teaching critical thinking and start teaching obedience. If she's not white, wealthy, or male, she's left behind. And the books, gone. The federal government will now decide what's woke and erase anything inconvenient, especially your history. Energy protections were repealed. Sections 42108 and 42301 dismantled the clean air laws, opening the door for wildfires, blackouts, and toxic pollution. Your 401k, don't get comfortable. Wall Street doesn't like chaos, and this bill delivers plenty. Markets will tank, and your retirement fund will go with it. Section 20001 escalates Indo-Pacific conflict. Trump lights the match, and your kid gets the draft notice. Section 44125 removes the LGBTQ protections and access to care. Gay, trans, and non-binary Americans denied services, expelled from school, pushed out of public life. And while billionaires get MAGA-branded savings accounts, you can't even file your taxes for free. They're cutting food, healthcare, and education to fund tanning bed tax breaks. They even slashed child tax credits and funding for childcare. You're expected to work more with less help and higher cost. Your community center closed. Your summer programs cut. Sections 41009 and 80301 wipe out block grants, historic preservation, and public parks. The professionals who make government work fired. Section 90004 to 90006 dismantle civil service protections. Scientists, disaster coordinators, public health experts replaced by political hacks who do whatever they're told. Section 44001 bans states from regulating AI. education, tech, or data privacy.
Yeah, you can't regulate AI. It's going where they want it to go. So this puts them in place to bring that CHIP as well.
10 years. That means your state can't protect you from tech giants, even if it wants to. And just in case you were hoping someone somewhere might hold power accountable, Sections 50002 and 5003 and 80121 got oversight agencies, the people who catch fraud, investigate pollution, and monitor corporate crime. They're being shut down. Even states that expanded Medicaid get penalized under the section 44131. If your governor tried to help you, this bill punishes them for it. And Trump said it himself. I have the right to do whatever I want. This bill gives him that power using your tax dollars. This is not a warning. This is happening. It's theft wrapped in a flag. It's censorship, cruelty, control, and collapse. Call your senators at 202-224-3121. Tell them this isn't patriotism. It's pillage. And if you've been silent, now is the time to speak.
Yeah. Okay. Well, a lot of people, because see, people are going to go to the streets. 2nd Esdras 15 and 13. Farmers will mourn because their seeds will fail to sprout. Their trees will be destroyed by blight, hail, and terrible storms. And we talked about farmers earlier losing. The world and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring the destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves to fight against other nations. Are not we seeing that? There will be great political turmoil with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. Okay? People are going to just lose it. Okay? Especially these Edomites. There will no longer be free access to the cities because the struggle for power will bring destruction. The NWO. Terror and total confusion will be everywhere. Driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. Okay, this is the times that are coming, and somehow the Lord is going to cover us through this. It's no way around it. Like, you people put these comments on our page, ain't no Jacob's trouble coming. We already went through trouble. We finished with trouble. Y'all hate our people. Well, we're just telling you what the scripture said. We're bound, all right, by the Spirit to tell you what's written to come. This is why they hated the prophets, man. And all of you guys have been playing around, laughing, jumping up and down, rapping. And now we're here. Okay?
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The United States Senate has approved a sweeping package of tax breaks for the wealthy and deep cuts to social programming, including Medicaid and food assistance.
All right. Let's get Isaiah 10. We bring this out all the time. Let's get mischief by law. The book of Psalms. Psalms 94 and 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee? Now's the time to separate from this place. It's not going anywhere that's going to have anything good to do with you. And even the Edomite is figuring that out. The MAGA people they're like, a lot of them people are like, wait a minute, this is going, y'all tripping. So shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law? They're framing mischief by these laws. They gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous to condemn the innocent blood. Okay? But the Lord is my defense and the God of my rock. All right? He's my refuge. And he shall bring upon them their own iniquity and shall cut them off in their own wickedness. All right. Yea, Yahweh, our power, shall cut them down. And Yahweh Shai is coming to rebuke these wicked inventions. Because how ultimately would you get out of a situation like this? Save the Lord, has mercy on you.
On Tuesday, Vice President J.D. Vance cast the tie-breaking vote to deliver a major legislative victory to President Trump.
On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being evenly divided, the vice president votes in the affirmative. The bill as amended is passed.
3 Republicans broke ranks to join all Democrats and independent senators in voting no. Senators Tom Tillis, Rand Paul,
And all of these people are compromised. They all compromised. All this hall has been bought out by the small hats. This is the United States of Israel. And the technocrats have taken root and what they want, it will be the law going forward. So things are going to change.
and Susan Collins. The legislation passed after a compromise was worked out with Alaska Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski, despite her concerns it slashes social safety net programs. The Senate reconciliation bill also includes a historic increase in funds to ramp up Trump's mass detention and deportation efforts, deregulates AI and cryptocurrency industries, ends subsidies for renewable energy, and even imposes
AI and cryptocurrency won't be regulated. So I wonder where that can go. I wonder where that can go. To the stigma, the modern day stigma, the modern day tattoo, a mark pricked or branded on the body. Okay. This is where it's going. This is what John saw. And he calls it all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he that had that mark, or the name of the beast or the number of his name, which means you've put his name on you. You've been recreated in his image. Right?
new taxes on solar and wind farms. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer warned of political consequences to Tuesday's vote.
Today's vote will haunt our Republican colleagues for years to come. As the American people see the damage that is done, as hospitals close, as people are laid off, as costs go up, as the debt increases.
The Congressional Budget Office estimates the Senate bill will add $3.3 trillion to the national debt over a decade. House members are rushing to return to the Capitol to vote on the Senate.
I thought it was all about taking away the debt.
Approved version of the bill ahead of a Trump-imposed July 4th deadline. We'll have more on this story after headlines. Here in New York, election officials have declared Zohran Mamdani the winner of last month's Democratic primary for New York City mayor. Tuesday's release of ranked choice voting results show Mamdani, a New York State Assembly member and Democratic socialist, easily defeated second-place finisher and former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo with 56% of the vote compared to Cuomo's 44%. Mamdani won with 545,000.
And Trump hates this guy because he's talking about making, helping Americans. He's like, look, we tired of giving money to Israel. Why are they giving money to Israel? Now he's been put in a position, all right, over here in New York. So I wonder, watch this guy, all right? Watch this guy in the future. Watch what's going to happen with him and how the Western media is getting ready to, he's going to be at a point of some type of, I believe, controversy soon,
1,000 votes, more than 27 U.S. senators received in their most recent elections. On Tuesday, President Trump threatened to arrest Mamdani over his campaign pledge not to cooperate with federal immigration agents carrying out Trump's mass deportation orders.
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation. A lot of people are saying he's here illegally. We're going to look at everything.
In a statement, Zohran Mamdani condemned Trump's threat as an attack on democracy and pledged, quote, "We will not accept this intimidation." Mamdani also spoke with TV station New York One.
What we're seeing in President Trump's rhetoric is an attempt to focus on who I am, where I'm from, what I look like, how I sound, as opposed to what I'm actually fighting for. Because to do so would be to display the stark contrast in our sincerity in actually delivering for the very working people who've been left behind by our politics.
In Gaza, Israeli forces have killed at least 43 more Palestinians, including people seeking aid and displaced families sheltering in tents. Al Jazeera reports in just 5 weeks, Israel's killed at least 600 Palestinians as they sought aid at distribution sites run by the militarized U.S. Israeli-backed so-called
killing them while they trying to get aid.
Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. This comes as Gaza's largest hospital, Al-Shifa, has exhausted its supplies of fuel to run generators due to Israel's ongoing blockade. At least 350 kidney failure patients in Gaza face imminent death as Al-Shifa doctors Tuesday were forced to shut down the hospital's dialysis ward. Israel's continuing slaughter and blockade came as President Trump claimed Israeli officials have agreed to finalize a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza, though Israel has not yet confirmed its approved conditions.
My man's, look, his tooth gone. They hurting. These Ishmaelites. Oh, man. And, Esau, hey, he's going to continue doing what the Lord has him set up to do in these times, man. This is arrows of indignation. Things will only get worse here in Babylon.
Concentration camps in different states throughout this country. We're shackling people in chains.
Fair use.
They're putting them in military cargo planes. We have people who are showing up unalive on shores, shackled in just various parts of the world. We have armed people in regular clothes and masks that just simply have ICE kind of stamped on their military paraphernalia. Literally dispatching people left and right. No paperwork, no nothing, just literally apprehending people and shuffling them away and hiding. We have people dying in federal custody. We have the legislative branch acting like they are completely oblivious to anything that the executive branch chooses to do. We have a piece of legislation that, for God's sake, it's called the Big Beautiful Bill. And that bill is nothing but death on paper. It's just death on paper. I just heard that the President of the United States is now launching a perfume, 45 and 47. The Supreme Court is undermining the U.S. Constitution at every single step, enabling the executive, the Article 2 power of the United States. The executive branch is able to go against schools, against private entities, against law firms, against any organization that they just choose to.
And the executive, legislative, and judicial, it's all been hijacked. So none of this stuff is going to be checked. And it's only going to get worse.
Want to go against is now open game. We have an absolutely rogue DOJ. We have an absolutely rogue executive. We have an absolutely rogue Congress. We have a president who is acting on behalf of another nation and attacking a different nation with U.S. military force. I don't even know how to end this. Because if you just stopped and wrote everything down, this video would be fucking 4 hours long. I mean, everything is just continuing to degrade. It is functioning, but it is degrading. And I don't know where that stops at. Where does that stop? How does that stop?
Let's get the book of Revelation, the 6th chapter, and we'll end it off. Maybe look at it, so look through some titles. But Revelation chapter 6 and 8, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death. All right. He is as death, as it says in Habakkuk. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth. And the fourth, part of the world is America. All right. You can look it up. Okay. Was America ever called the fourth part of the world? Yes, America was sometimes referred to as the fourth part of the world by Europeans in the 16th century. Okay. And they used the Apocrypha to discover, to help them discover this side of the world, which the Lord ultimately guided them because they had to fulfill prophecy. All right. Amerigo Vespucci's discoverer of the Americas, Amerigo Vespucci, which Amerigo was what America is named after. And the word is Mara. And in the scriptures, Jeremiah calls America Marathiam. When you go into the root, it's bitter. Mara. See? Amargo means bitter. Mare, like a nightmare. So we're America. All right. The term fourth part of the world became a way to describe the newly discovered lands, highlighting distinctiveness from the previously known 3 continents. So, going back to Revelation, power was given him over the fourth part of the earth. And particularly here is going to be a great judgment. Okay, because here in America, people have enjoyed freedoms and delicacies that people in other parts of the world, and freedoms that other people in other parts of the world haven't had. So it's going to be a serious judgment here. Power was given to him over the fourth part of the earth, which things are going to be going on worldwide, but the mass judgment goes on here, is to kill with the sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth. So the sword, hunger, death, these things are all coming down the pipe, okay, in the form of this system we see being put in place. Okay? Yeah, Israel supposedly agrees to a ceasefire, but we know what's going on. Yep, Trump is going to have this guy arrested. So if watch this guy in the future, because people who ain't down with the program are ultimately going to get, they're going to lose. You're going to be basically subject to being carted off and arrested. Walmart staffer fear job cuts amid Trump immigration policy concerns. So keep a watch. Keep a watch, man. We here through the spirit. Keep saying it, man. There you go. A social credit score system to eradicate non-compliant citizens. They're going to make you worship their image, and then they're going to bring their mark. So, let's see. That's pretty much it.
In this country, as this president has emboldened them to move this to be a white nation, people of color are going to find themselves under attack. This is a map of hate groups in the United States. These are the real supersets. These are the real enemy from within. You can go back and watch this video, and you will see that that attack on those children was a deliberate, premeditated attack. Lynchings, kidnappings.
Not to mention, you got 4 Jakes that then popped up, lynched and hanged over the last couple of months.
Involving people of color are on the rise. And by coincidence. Just be aware. So I'm going to say this with as much caution as I can. I live in Arizona. And they did a lot of the drills and a lot of the white supremacists that participated in January 6th came out of Arizona crack training down here in Arizona from their hands and their feet. But do you know who's not reporting any of this? Notice you haven't heard a word of this on any American news outlet. No ABC, no CNN, no Fox News, no channel in the U.S. is reporting this. There's no Washington Post. There's no Wall Street Journal. There's no... Because
in there, they're just going to say it's fake news. They're going to say it's, fact check. You look it up now, they're going to say fact check, but hey, hopefully y'all are edified. He's getting ready to come down with great wrath. May Yahweh Bashim Yahshua be with us. Shalom.